This is the last week for your project, and you'll notice that the final project requirements require that whatever CRUD application you use, in other words, whatever you're going to store, that interface be password protected. Now, we've already been through sessions in this course, and I'm going to show you right now how to password protect the code in question. So last week we did the CRUD methodology of the simple form that we started a couple weeks ago. If you recall, we had insertion and selection as one homework assignment, and then we had delete and update as a second. So clearly this thing needs to be password protected. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we are going to open this up, and we're going to create a new file called login. So what I'm going to do is create a new file and simply save it as login.php. So this is going to go in here. And I'm just going to do a quick form action equals login.php. And feel free to use this code in your final project. In fact, you can use all the code that I've done. I just want you to be able to apply it toward your own items. So let's do username, input type equals text, name equals username. Very simple stuff here. You see I'm not even using any HTML other than the form stuff. So we'll do password. This is the login. So you're going to manually put in your password into the database. Okay, equals password. And then the name here could be password. So now we have our text fields. And now I can do a button. Input type equals text, or submit rather. The name can be equal to submit, and the value can be equal to login. Perfect. Okay, so if you recall, we're already using a database with this connection string, so I'm going to put this right inside login, just like that. No big deal. You can use an include with a separate file. Feel free to do whatever you'd like. Now, I'm going to say something like, okay, if scalar underscore post submit happens to be equal to, login, then what we're going to do is check the records in the database, and then set a session, and then redirect to the registration page, which is the CRUD, which is the CRUD page where we control all the data. Okay? So one thing to remember from our sessions is that when we do a session start, that's going to start a session. Okay, so how are we going to store these passwords? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of links here. And one of the most common ways in modern PHP, PHP 7, is to use something called a password hash. So what I'm going to do is output this value into my database. So let's do this. I'm going to do localhost, and I'm going to do phpMyAdmin, and I'm going to go to a separate parser, a PHP parser. I like to use REPL-IT when I need some PHP run quickly. So let's say hypothetically my password were a PHP teacher, something like that. Well, once this gets going, I'm going to type this in, and I'm going to move this over a little bit, and I'm going to type in PHP teacher. Okay, and I'm going to click run. Now this, my friends, is the encrypted password, which I will need to put in my database. Okay, so the next step, and it's going to be sort of challenging to follow along with this on the video, so pause it, play it again, because I tend to go a little fast, but we are in WebD 166 right now. This is the CRUD. You see there's the students, and I'm going to create a new table, and this table will be called admin. And I am only going to be the only admin, so I'm going to do 2 columns. And I'm going to do admin. No, I'll do username, excuse me, and password. Whoops, helps if I type well. Password. There we go. We're going to do varchar 255, varchar 255. No big deal. Okay. And now I'm going to make my first insert. Okay, I'm going to click on admin and I'm going to click insert. And I'm going to put in admin and then the encrypted password from REPL-IT, which is this. Okay, so now when I do that, I can click go, and when I click browse, I've got my admin and my encrypted password. Now the beauty of this is that we never have to change anything. We can keep it as is, or if we want to update, we can do this. But the other beauty is that we're not storing an unencrypted password. You never want to do that. You never want your passwords loose in the system. So I know this is admin and PHP teacher. Now I just figure out how to have to call it. So what I'm going to do is go back to my login and write some SQL. Okay. So what I can do is check that SQL, and I'll do DBH because that's the handle. Prepare, and I'll do select all from what are we talking here? Admin where. Actually, we'll get the password first. We'll select username, password from admin, where username equals, and we'll grab the username from our form. So in no way are we giving anyone authorization yet. We're just grabbing values from the database. So, and I could easily do this. I could just do, get the password where the username equals that value. When you take WebD 167, which is the next database course, you'll see that there's a way we can do data binding on this, so we don't have to inject variables into our query. It makes it a little safer. I'll call this check SQL. Okay, and then I'll do check SQL execute. That's similar to what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. And I'll do row. I don't need a while loop because it should be only one username. But row equals check SQL fetch. Okay, and then the password would be equal to row 0. So this said I have to do user pass here to see what was entered by the user from the form, and I'll need to equate those, just to check to see if this is equal to the password from the admin. But remember, at this point, this is completely encrypted. Okay, so I want to show your attention to another part of PHP.NET, which is password verify. And this will verify that the password actually matches the hash. So this would be my typical hash right here. And I could say something like, I can actually copy this and just go to the code and say, okay, well, hash equals this. Well, actually, hash equals the password, so I can just delete that. But password, okay, and this is the string that we're testing to see if it matches. And so I could do if PHP teacher or user pass equals password verify, that the password from the database, then it's valid, otherwise echo invalid. So let's try it. I'm going to go to the localhost now, and I'm going to do login.php, and we'll do admin, and then we'll do something and just see if it doesn't work. And you see it says invalid password. Good. So let's try admin, and then we'll do PHP teacher. And we'll click login, and I get password is valid. So that's a really handy thing to do. That is the first part of this. I'm going to do another video in a second. That's part 2. But that's how you can get your username and password in the database. So remember, I went and created a table, and I didn't have an ID primary key because I'm not going to change this. I just want it to be my own credentials. I have my traditional username and an encrypted password. The encrypted password was taken right from PHP.NET, and I put it right in REPL-IT. So this is the function, and I'm converting this to this. And this is my result. And it's a hash, meaning if I run this again, it's going to be different. See how it said DEURM? We'll do it again. Now you see it's different. It's never the same, and that makes it extra secure inside your database. So after that, we created the form, I called the database, I selected password from admin with a username equals username, and I got that password. I don't need to check the username again because I already got a match, and I'm just verifying. So in the next script, I'll show you how to actually, now that we're logged in, how to password protect the actual registration form.